Hyperbolic models. Hyperbolic models are equations that show a relationship between two variables in the shape of a rectangular hyperbola. Let's have a look at one. So with our x and y axis here, rectangular hyperbola is going to look something like this, and it's going to have equation y equals k over x, where k is just a constant. And here previously in exponential models, we looked at a value as the graph was approaching the x-axis being an asymptote, and we've got the same thing here. So we've got asymptotes in four directions here. We've got an asymptote here as the graph gets closer to it, here as the graph gets closer, here, and here. And so essentially what we've got is the x and y axis being both asymptotes. So we've got our asymptotes here with the x-axis and the y-axis. And if x and y-axis are both asymptotes, that means that x and y both can't equal 0. And this should make a bit of sense just by looking at the equation, because x definitely can't be 0 because we'd be dividing by 0. And y can't be 0 because the only way to make a fraction equal to 0 is if the numerator was 0, but that numerator is a constant there and we can't change its value, so it can never be 0. So there's no way to get y equal to 0 there. Alright, let's have a look at an example. So we have a group of friends pay $1,200 to Airbnb a holiday house. And we're going to let C be the cost per person. And we're going to let N be the number of people going. And the first thing we want to do is form an equation that shows a relationship between C and N. So, well, our cost is going to be $1,200, and if we've got N people going, they're all going to share the cost. So we can just divide it by N. And that's very similar to our hyperbolic model that we just saw, where y equals k on x. So where in this case, N is your x and C is your y. So let's see if we can come up with a graph for this. So we're going to do this by making a table of values. It's probably too many. And up here, and the subject always at the bottom, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's not worry about it anymore. Okay. Now, if we start with n equals 1 in, we just have 1,200 divided by 1, and that's going to give you 1,200. 1,200 divided by 2 is going to give you 600. 1,200 divided by 3 is going to give you 400. Divided by 4, 300, and divided by 5 is 240. And let's see if we can plot out this on a graph. So C on our y-axis and N on our x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, you'll use a better scale than me here with a nice ruler. Okay. Let's go up by 200s. Alright, and let's start plotting out what we've got. So if one person's going, that's going to be $1,200, which should be about there. 2 people going is 600, which should be about there. 3 people going 400, which is about there. Let's fix that up. 4 people going 300, which is about in the middle there. 5 people going is 240, which will be about there. And you can see we've got what looks like part of the hyperbolic model. Should go through that one. Alrighty, now let's see if we can answer some questions. So, just in terms of N and C both can't be 0, let's try and make sense of it with this one actually. So we can't have 0 people going for N. That wouldn't make any sense, because why would you even be making the model if 0 people were going? And C can't be 0 because it doesn't matter how many people are going, they're always going to have to pay something each. So even if you have 1,200 people going, they're all going to have to pay $1 each. Okay, so let's answer some questions. So what's it going to cost if 10 people are going? Well, you can just use your equation there. So cost is going to be 1,200 divided by the amount of people going, which is 10, and you're going to get $120 per person if 10 people are going. And so how can the cost be $10 each? So how can the cost be $10 each? Well, we could again use the equation. So if we want cost to be $10, we just make C equal to 10, 1,200 over N, and we can solve for N. So if it's going to be $10 each, we need to figure out how many people we need. You could times both sides by N, 10N equals 1,200, then divide both sides by 10, and we get 120, which means 120 people would have to go for it to be $10 each. And finally, our limitations. So what are the limitations of this model? Well, in terms of practicality, like, can you have 120 people going to a holiday house? Can you have 1,200 people going? Yeah, probably not. So pretty limited in terms of the number of people that can actually go.